send the file. So that was our business, and that still is our business. But then the client takes our visualization and puts it in either a web page or in social media. But our business is only the creating of visualization. So for a long time, for the starting of our business, we were concentrating only on how to make the visualization better, sharper, so it loads in faster, all things only around the product and how it works, and only the usability about it. And then we reached the point where we are somewhere in top of the Europe, and we understand that we've been talking a lot about that we are not creating only beautiful visualizations, we are creating also sales tools, that huge part of our projects are not working because they are badly implemented. They are put in some kind of, I don't know, pages or it's just implemented in a web pages or in social media badly, so it's not working. And checking Google Analytics, clients are paying us normal money for the projects, but basically they are not working and they are not getting it back. So we understood, okay, we have to look on the whole ecosystem, on interactive visualizations, how they should be implemented and how they should work. And we thought that could solve the problem. Our product would be more usable if we give this knowledge together to our clients. So we opened up Google and read every material that's on there about interactive media, about online communication, about visual aids, pictures, text, videos, basically everything that's on there and everything that's connected with 360 visuals. And reading everything that's on Google, I think I can for sure say that there's no research we haven't read there about connected with interactive visualizations and how they work and how people better can engage with them. We understood that information is not quality enough, and so we can't, and there's not enough quality data, not enough quality researchers, and so we can't reach our aim, and still we can't figure out how our product is better be used, implementing in web pages or in social media or other platforms. So we made a decision, okay, let's do every research on our own. So we set the aim, we hired one guy. His aim is only to, half of his job is only to do studies and get the data about user experience, how they navigate around the web page, in which position is better needed picture, on which video, in which interactive media, all these basic questions, and then only to get to the point how 360 visualization should be better used, where it should be implemented, and how it can really increase either hotel booking. We know that that's happening, but we don't know from where the increase is coming out. And second, in real estate, that's our key industry, how it can increase online real estate sales. So, and we are right now at this point when we are starting to gather data, starting to create case studies on every client. And third thing, we also closed a deal with one of the universities of Latvia. In Latvia, Riga, so they are giving their student resources for our researchers, so we can get to the point, how our media should be better used. So hopefully in 6 months I can give you information about every visual aid, how it should be better used, and how we can really increase online sales in real estate and in hotels using 360 visualization. So that's basically it. So,
any questions?
Any questions? Photo camera. Yeah, we stitch it together. So. Yeah, HDR photos, so we balanced out.
Is it HTML5 or Flash?
This is Flash, but it has HTML backup for mobile versions. So if you go if your device has Flash player, it opens as Flash project. If it's not, it opens as HTML5. Just for computers, it's still better to use Flash for these visualizations. It just looks better. And since our clients basically buy our product based on how it looks, and if it's beautiful, then yeah. still flash a lot.
Are you trying putting on icons on houses to get more information?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And this is technically really basic visualization. We have done more than 550 projects, so from 12, 15 industries. So we have tried, I think, a lot of things. Even visual art gallery.
Yeah, I just can comment on this. We're actually, we have a project with Scott, and I think it's a year old, and we haven't published it, and we don't know where. We have done, clickable tooltips and just different stuff throughout the office. We just, where do we put it?
Yeah, but that's the problem. When we go to the client, we sell visualization, and we just sell it. Okay, let's implement that, and then implement it in the web page, and then the file is standing, and how you integrate it better. And half of the projects are implemented, but they are not user friendly, or I don't know the term how to use it. So, the next step would be to give you a full report on how and where you should put it in, and because at the beginning we were afraid to say that you have some IT investment, like to rearrange something in the web page, because we always were worrying about how to sell product. Now we are okay. Let's better already say that you will have to change this, so it works. If not, then we don't do project for you.
I think it's great that you're focusing on an industry that really requires that feeling of space, and that's in real estate and bookings.
Yeah.
And just go for that.
Yeah.
If there's an issue to implement your products to your summary plan, web pages, maybe it's more reasonable to create some sort of API, so you could actually easily, implement it.
Yeah, that's a challenge, but still we don't know. There's not a lot of information on how the actual interactive visualization should be used. We don't know the difference between video and 360 and like a picture. And if the hotel asks you the question, just it could be that, but we don't want to speculate around what we think. We would like to give an answer based on data. So, and after that, it will somehow change the product. Either we will give, as you said, API or something, but that will come out of the data we will receive in next 4, 5, 6 months.
So you're expecting to get some research data.
Yeah, and then make decision right now, not to speculate. And we have some theories. Of course, we've been doing this for 4 years. We have huge knowledge about it, but to go start from the basic and to figure out every small detail about user experience. Yeah.
Could you tell us more about the research process? I mean, what kind of data are you gathering? How are you gathering it? How are you analyzing?
So there are right now more sites working, but one key, like for the latest clients, we started to gather data from hotel months before 360 was implemented, and then we finished the project and implemented the 360 based on our recommendations, and then when we again gather whole data and see what's changing and how it's changing. So one part of the project is just to play around with the clients before and after, what's changing and how we can change it. And if clients are flexible and ready to experiment, it's more free hands for us to experiment. Yes. So that's like one key, just to build like case study by case study from a client, and then have some conclusions, and then change it till we reach the point when you say for hotel it should work like this, for real estate we have to work like this.
Okay, last question.
Technology-wise, what kind of tracking solution? Google Analytics?
Yeah, Google Analytics, and there is Crazy Egg when we can check how heat map of the visualization. So but that's more about the product. So we can see on which button you click first. After this, where you click, but that's again about the product. That's our third step. First, we want to gather all Google Analytics data about when you start using it, and then only move back to the product. So basically, starting from the beginning. But we already started to gather all data about user experience in the product.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we are getting closer to our
first speaker, artist. So welcome to the stage.
Okay, my name is Storins. I'm a graphic designer working both in print and digital mediums, and this time my presentation is going to be about one of the digital projects I made. Also, I have to say beforehand, I haven't spoken in a while in English, so I might stop. So if I go completely silent, please understand. So basically, what's Trivium? Trivium Automotive, it's a training company which offers public courses, also enterprise courses and consultations, starting from public speaking to human resource management and so forth. So this project was done together with Hungry Lab. You say it wasn't just mine, and they've done a great deal of job there. So I'm really grateful to work with them. And so they approached with a simple task. It wasn't anything special, just their website was pretty outdated already and they wanted something new. That's about it. So as I already mentioned, it was done together with Hungry Lab. I myself a one-man company format. And so I will give you a little brief about how I'm moving through. So I will show the old version, give you some tips about it, then I will show you a little bit insights in the process, how I went to the new version, so to speak, then a little demonstration, and in the end it's going to be a little wrap up. So that was the old version. As you can see, it's pretty disorganized. I mean, the menus are somewhere in the header area, somewhere in the footer area, and something in the middle. Also, the public courses section also, it was pretty crowded. Its dates are with 3 digits and small text. It's pretty standard to read. And it's like that throughout the whole website. And also, in some cases, comes in a second part of a menu, also a side menu, and this is just one section. So it's kind of pretty bad. So basically also it's text, pretty much not a single picture you can grab your eye on. And forms. So probably you can read, but that is just a diagram of what the upper side shows, what the previous site map looked like, and below is what we came up with, because basically we understood that what we have to do is try to bring the content together. It was pretty spread out and without good reason actually. So that was one of the biggest tasks, to realize which sections could be put together so to make it more meaningful and easy to navigate to the web page. And I will give you after that a little brief of why some things went to the index pages and not someplace else. So basically, yes, that's the start of the process. I just begin with sketching, and you can see another big artist, but still, I think many of us who are in this area, so to speak, are doing this. It just really helps to get things going. Just draw and write text, it really helps to visualize and discern and understand what you have to do. The next part is was wireframes, and what we did, we went with the wireframes to the client, and because we didn't want to do the design and then talk with the client, we wanted to do it step by step, just to show how we see ourselves to build up the site and to see the client accepts it and move on. The interesting part was when we started to present this kind of wireframes, after the second sentence, client stopped and asked, "Is this really the site you're going to do? Why is it so gray?" So sometimes you have to just explain some things you think it's pretty understandable, but actually you have to say that this isn't the final site, how it will look in the end. So, and then we move on, when we, so to speak, got the approval, then it comes to the biggest part, starting to design actually. And I think one of the key things is to choose the type. It's really one of the basics, because type is one of the things that builds up all the site. All information is all things you read is the font, and you have to, and there are many not layers, but things you should consider. For example, this time they needed not only Latvian, but in the Russian language as well. And it's not so easy actually to find the font, the left font, which supports Latvian, Russian language, and maybe some other. So in the end, we came up with the Open Sans, which shows it, because also it's good. It has many styles, so you can build up a very good hierarchy, informational hierarchy. And also put some accents if you need to bring something out. So it's really it's really important actually to choose. I just want to emphasize it, that it's really important to choose the typeface. You have to remove that and then move on to the other things. When the type is chosen, then you can move on to really building it up. So this is the real shot of how I do it. It's grid and also the baselines. And the good thing about it, I think many of you do it also this way, but the good thing about grids and the baselines is that when you give your work to coder, as in my case, it's really easy for him, it's more easier for him to build up what you want, because he can measure things in pixels, and so it's much more easier for him to see where some elements should be, and the height of them, and so on, the width, the line height, domain. And as I mentioned, for me as a designer, it's really helpful just to make it more meaningful and bring it all together. Also, I forgot to mention, this website was not only for desktop, but we made it for responsive design. So we had to keep it in mind that it could be not only on a desktop or a tablet, but also on a mobile phone. But we will move on to that one a little bit later. And just another shot to see. Sorry. So now we can move a little bit to so that's the site. Really good site. So what we realized and offered the survey, when we surveyed the client, we understood that the most important thing for them are people to know which courses are coming up, and also the tutors, because people tend to go to them because of the tutors. So it's quite important from them. So it has to be shown prominently, and they easily can choose which ones to show there. Also, another thing is you can see there is like a pop-up box, basically news. And the thing is, we asked them how often do you have some news to write or no? And the answer was that it's more like once in a month or twice, or even once in 2 months. So basically, it was a clear idea that they don't need like a separate section for news. So we decided that they just need a pop-up, and once you have seen it and closed it, the next time you visit the page, it doesn't show up. So there is no password, and there is no news which stands like a year and still seems like it's news. Okay. Let's look at public courses. It's really also what we kept in mind not to, so to speak, overthrow people with information. So everything is backed up, and somebody who wants to see what's in cover, he can open up and see it himself. So no need to open it all. And in case somebody really wants to see the whole damn thing, it's open up. So very easy. Same thing for them. Also, we kept the same, so to speak, the layout for all the sections to keep the continuity. So if the accordion was used in a public courses section, we used it throughout the whole thing. And the good thing about the accordion is that in case you're looking on your mobile screen, it's really easy to open it up and then open it down and to navigate. So that's the reason why we chose two. It's really easy for the desktop users. It's also really easy, let's say more easy for mobile users to navigate and go through the pages. Tutors. Choose one. You can see the upcoming course. And there's a public course and also the enterprise courses. So they are color defined. So it's more easier to understand for which. Okay, I think if you want to see, just go there yourselves. Once cover it. So I'm going to show now the wrap up. So those are the stats. Interesting thing. With the old version and the new version. So as we can see, sessions is basically the overall user visits. It hasn't changed that much. We can see, okay, the users which are unique visits, they are down. But as far as I know, the marketing campaign they did was basically using social networks, spreading it out, nothing else. So maybe that's a problem. Maybe some other things, like competition, etc. Page views and page sessions are down. That's understandable because the count, the size of the sections is being lessened. And you can see an interesting thing is about the average session duration is gone up pretty significantly. In this case, I think it's a good thing because it's more about, it's not a e-shop where you want people to go through as fast as possible, but it's more text-based, so it's good that people are spending time and more. Also, the bounce rate is down, which is also a good thing. The new sessions, it's, as far as I know, that's the comparison between new visitors and the coming back visitors. So basically it shows where the overall visitor count is the same. Those who are coming back is gone up. So it's a good thing that people are, looks like, more interested to come back to this website. And that's about it. So thank you very much. If you have some questions.
So, any questions?
Yeah, how much time did you spend designing this website starting from the UX program and the complete result?
If I'm not mistaken, it's approximately 2 months. So I guess so. Yeah, and afterwards all of this stuff. I mean, we don't do revisions. But that's basically we met the client.
Really?
Do you have a solution for with this iteration, and have you agreed with client for the next one?
Sorry?
Like, there might be some gray area where you don't know if this is going to work, and you would like to test and reiterate further. Have you agreed with the client for upcoming potential redesign?
Not yet. But like I said, basically the info I got was so that's not a good gap. We'll see. We'll see if they're interested. That's not my case too. I didn't hear you.
Did the client have any measurable aims that they wanted to achieve in this website, or they just wanted to?
Of course, they wrote in the survey they want more people to visit the site. You see, but the thing is, we will do the marketing. I mean, yes. So by the results which I showed you, I mean the design works in a sense. Yes. The bounce rate and the conversation is up. Thinking about users, yes, it's down. Why? We don't know. The unique users, I mean, that's under question.
Why you don't use mobile first approach?
Good thing. I haven't tried. For me, it's more easier. I know it sounds weird, but for me, always when I'm doing the large version, the desktop version, I already somehow, I'm thinking how it's going to look on the mobile version, where the blocks will move and so on. To me, it's much more harder to think about, okay, let's do the mobile version and then how it will spread out. I find it, for me personally, I find it harder. I know that mobile first approach is considered to be better, but it doesn't work for me.
So last question probably. Okay, thank you, artist. Our next speaker is Kaspar from Dozer Bytes, so please take stage.
So hi everyone, I'm Kaspar. I come from Browser Bytes, originally from Estonia, still from Estonia. So if I'm talking too slowly, just tell me to speed up. So what are we about? You probably all have the experience of having a website which doesn't work very well here or there in your tablet, in your phone, or even on your mother's computer. So just to how hard it is actually to test it, it's I'll just show you 2 pictures in a row. So this is website looked at with Internet Explorer 9, and this one is a grandmother's version of it, which is Internet Explorer 8. So how many of you see there's a problem on the site? There's one. Don't tell. Just show me with your hand. Yeah. Okay. So you are the first one. What's wrong?
Red button.
What?
Red button.
Red button.
On the web page.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Anyone see something else? What's wrong?
Margin with text.
I'm sorry.
Margin with text.
The text margin is
Yeah.
wrong. Okay. What else?
Search the text and search bar.
It's moved. Yeah. Loads of problems here, right?
Overall readability is much worse.
Readability. It's a crap picture, right? So
Apply here, but it's not visible.
finally, yeah. Well, what is the whole point of this website is actually here. So it took us how many people to actually spot this problem? And if you look at it from Internet Explorer 9, then see the red background was there, although the corners are now rounded, which is a nice feature. But the apply here button was supposed to have a white background, which is missing in Internet Explorer 8. And this kind of a problem is exactly what we are trying to spot with computer vision and machine learning while testing websites for problems in that result in usability problems as well. But in larger area they're called compatibility problems. And what it actually means for business is quite simple. I mean, back then when we did this test, it was a good couple of years ago actually. It's an old slideshow, sorry for that. When we did this test, actually that particular website was missing out about 20% of their traffic. So 20% of their users saw the apply here button with a green background, so therefore they didn't see it, therefore they didn't click it. You can probably imagine what it would mean for an e-commerce website where the button is not visible. We actually have seen occasions where stuff like that happens. This is the Apple website when the new Retina iPad was launched. And on the left you see how the site looks like in Firefox, which was more or less current at the time. So even the big boys have issues. And to test for issues like that, then we found out over the years doing our R&D project is that browsers actually fool you or fool us in a great many ways. And just the first idea we had was just do the pixel by pixel comparison. That's simple, right? What can go wrong? And oh boy, we found loads of stuff that the browsers do to us. For instance, gradients, dithering. So if you look at 2 images or 2 websites on 2 different browsers on the same computer, on the same operating system, then you start seeing that actually these 2 browsers render these pictures in a very different way. Because when you go into details, then you see that this browser here uses a technique called dithering, which is mixing pixels with different colors to give you a perception of the color that it wants you to receive. And here you get a different application of the gradient. And this kind of techniques actually forbid you from using a pixel by pixel comparison technique. There are loads of other issues as well why it can't be used. So we went for a different way of using computer vision, trying to spot objects and trying to match them in different browsers. But well, sooner or later then we had a small problem which is called the responsive websites and responsive design and so on. So imagine that you're a tester at Apple, right? And you're trying to sell Apple devices to also Android users, right? Because Android is crap when you're an Apple user. I use Android, by the way. And then you start looking at your customer base or potential customer base, and you have operating systems, which right now we're talking about 5 major ones. Then we have the browsers, again, roughly 5 major ones. Then screen resolutions is a bit of a problem. It's more than 20 that we reckon, at least, which are in use. And also you end up with a problem with device pixel ratio, that you might have a very large resolution crammed on a very small device. Therefore, it actually renders a little bit differently then. So, as a tester, when somebody tells you that, can you please test this website on all the devices, then you might just as well ask the person who's asking you to help. Because roughly, to test a responsive website, you would have to look at about 100 different pictures. And we saw earlier how well you guys did when you were trying to spot problems on the website, yeah? So try spotting that on 100 pictures which look roughly the same. So it's a problem in itself, because our brain is built to fool you. And when you start looking at patterns of pictures which sort of look very similar, our brain starts to filter out the problems. Because our brain works in that, not to find problems, but it works the way that it eliminates the problems. Even if you see them in plain sight, you don't see it. It's the same problem when you're writing some code and it doesn't work. Mine usually doesn't. And you look for the problem for a good hour, and then someone else pops by and says, oh, you're missing the semicolon there. How couldn't you see it? But our brain is built in a different way. So what we did was we sort of applied computer vision on websites. So instead of going into the code and digging through all the elements that creative developers put in there and going through the scripts, we started looking at images, how websites are actually seen by the people. And from these images we tried to spot different elements, and all these elements have properties. And this is an animation where we've applied the objects that we have detected on the websites. So we just rotate through the browsers. And then we try to match these objects across different browsers. You end up with problems like that. It's the human perception thing. So an example about the font difference. And what we found was that people are different. That's not big of a news, is it? But some people we talked to, and we asked, well, is this a problem? Who thinks it's on a website that these 2 text blocks are rendered in 2 different browsers? Who thinks it's a problem? Raise your hand. Okay. You are designers. Right?
I'm not a designer.
You're not. Then you're an exception. But what we found was that people have different, let's say it's not like a digital way of this is right and this is wrong, but it's more like an analog way of looking at issues. So some people think it's a problem that the font is different, and some people don't give a shit, especially developers. And project managers are somewhere in between. And I used to run a testing company before that, so it was a test consultancy with about 20 people. And before even starting out to come up with a product and starting out with the R&D, I wanted to know how good people really are. So I took 5 of my best testers, gave them 50 websites and images done or renderings done by 2 browsers. And I asked them, well, can you just, individually file out all the bugs you can find in layout? And what I found out was that it's a good time to shut down the testing business, because people are miserable in testing. Because quite often what happened was that out of 3 people, 1 would find a bug, 2 others would confirm it later. If they were told that there is a bug, is that a bug? Yes, that's a bug. So if you would tell your friend that please can you look at this website and find some issues, it's very likely that he will only fight 1/3 of these issues. And that is if he's sober and focused. It rarely happens. So, and that's with 2 browsers. If you add up 100 browsers, then the detection rate will probably go close to 0. So, one picture is 1,000 words, I've heard. So I ran a small test on the current events website. I think this is this one. Okay. Let's see which one is better. Okay. So this is the report you get out of it. What you put in is the website URL, the address, and you get out is a report. Actually, the colors are sort of fading in here, but I think you get the idea. And in this report, you can see a lot of devices and browsers and problems. So let's look at Internet Explorer 9 here, because there seems to be a problem here. And it says subscribe to a newsletter, and there's an orange box around it. Therefore, let's play. If I hover it, in Internet Explorer 9, it's empty, but in Chrome it's filled out with an email address placeholder. Completely expected, right? Well, this is one type of a bug that most people, or most developers at least, expect to happen because it's too much work to work around. And even with our BrowserByte landing page, we have taken a knowledgeable position that it shouldn't work on Internet Explorer 8. Because if you show me a web designer who is using Internet Explorer 8 on his workplace, then I would kindly ask to fire him, unless he's using it for testing. So if we go further, then you have the problem of responsive, right? Now with responsive websites, it's kind of empty, isn't it? Oh no, yeah. No idea. So here you can see also there are some scaling issues. So if I drag back and forth, then this is another discussion matter. It's a difference. Yes, we have detected it. Another issue is that should it be corrected? Sorry. But like this, you can go through this report in quite a quick manner. So what we have done with the responsive is that if you're testing anything, then the hardest part of any test is actually knowing what is correct. So if you know what is correct, then it's very easy to test. And in the case of layout testing, you always need a reference or an oracle to test against. And what we have done is that we use the oracle, which is Chrome, Google Chrome. So Chrome is deemed to be correct because most developers actually, well, not all of them, but most of them tend to test a responsive website on Chrome. They just, resize the window. They don't all do it, but most of them luckily do. This is another example. So this is Internet Explorer 8. This is much more interesting, right? So here is a small font difference, right? Now, again, when you're talking to a designer, then it's end of the world. When you're talking to a developer, then it's there. Nothing to fix. So what we have chosen to do is that with the smaller text box, we try to ignore the font differences because most users don't really mind. Until the text is there, it's more or less readable. But if it's a big title, then we highlight them. And also, you have with practical, this is also a website, also a font issue. Not much more there, right? Okay, here you see some big problems, right? And what we have tried to do here is that when you actually, no, this is messy. But actually with most sites you have the issue of banners and these big sliders or animations in general. And animations are a bad thing for us because if the page is not static, then you get the snapshots of it in different phases. And when you compare the different phases, of course you get differences. And our algorithm is built to detect the differences. So what we built on top of that is actually a sort of a dynamic filter which tries to detect the animations. So we open up the site in browser in the Pro and take pictures at several intervals. So we try to find out if there's any animations in particular regions. If there are, we disregard them in terms of comparison. Sometimes it works, and in this case it didn't. Mostly because the line height problems cause this site to, well anyways, this picture is a lot lower in Internet Explorer 8. So this report, what I'm showing you now, if you would try to do this work manually, first of all, you probably would fail because you get bored looking at the 100 pictures. And secondly, even if you would look at them, your detection rate would be quite low. I mean, probably less than 10%. And third, you will spend a good couple of hours on doing that. This report was done in less than 5 minutes, and while you can have a coffee. So this is what we do. Do you have any questions?
How much does it cost?
Very cheap. Compared to the angry customer, this is very cheap. It actually pays your money back after the first bug you find. It's probably you earn your money back. But for a project, it's about 29 euros for a web agency that does less than 10 projects a month. It's 179 euros a month.
For an application product SaaS company, or I have one website.
Then we need to have a discussion.
All right.
Yeah, we do have customers who are in that region. Yeah.
How do you render the images? Is it going to the real browser?
Yeah, we run these browsers usually through Selenium. So we actually open up the real browser. It opens the web page, and when the report comes in that the page is rendered, then we usually resize the browser in Windows. We resize the browser to be as big as the website, and then we get the image. Did that answer your question?
Yes, and how do you know when there is some changes or something? There is some algorithm to search?
Oh yes, there is a patent application pending on that algorithm. Yes. It's pretty heavy work. Actually, when I was looking for someone who can do this kind of image comparison and image analysis stuff, then for Estonia I found 2 people that were sort of in the area. So we managed to get one on board, luckily for us.
Why did you choose Chrome over Firefox, for example?
Quite simple, because 75% of web developers use Chrome. So, and the rest of them use Firefox.
Okay, so, but I have like a guitar question. I see you cover a lot of devices, and how do you, well, obviously device market is it's growing, and how do you track this? Like you have a limited number of devices that you use, like most popular, or you're like keep track of the devices that comes out, like, and you're also testing those devices also, or?
Well, to be honest, actually, your question is part of a much bigger question. The thing is that if you go to the Apple website and see, you ask for Apple. I mean, how many iPad minis did you sell? How many iPad 3 and so on did you sell? Actually, this information can mislead you because your particular website is appealing to a particular audience. So you actually have to look at your audience. So, for instance, EMT, which is like LMT here, right? EMT or Telia. They tested their website with our service, and they said that they have about 40% of traffic on mobile. And they knew very specifically which phones their customers were having. So on the other hand, when you talk about companies like, for instance, Skype, then about 2 years ago they had to support Internet Explorer 6. 2 years ago Internet Explorer 6 was already a very old browser. But the reason why they had to support it was that they had a lot of paying customers on Internet Explorer 6. So it's really dependent on the actual website you're testing, what devices you want to support. So you can, when you're running a new test, you can actually choose. So if I would come in and tell you that, hey, you should test on this and this and that device, then without knowing your website background, I can mislead you. You should always look at the audience first and then do the stuff. It's like if you're selling stuff to the grandmothers, then you have to do the stuff they like. So.
Thank you.
I have a question. Does your system can detect some JavaScript pop-ups, some of a good result, or you just visit some start pages and take photos?
I know where you're heading. So yes, we do have a beta product to sort of record clicks and play them back in different browsers. But we left it in beta. We froze the development because people were starting to expect too many things out of it. And it's still out there. You can put it into Chrome. It's a Chrome extension. It's like Selenium for dummies, more or less. You start recording and then you upload it to BrowserByte. And another problem was that if you record something in desktop mode and then you try to play it back in mobile, it doesn't work. So usually the developers manage to break it somehow. And just the same elements are not there, their classes changed, so you can't really play it back straightforward. But this is something in the back of my head, so in the future we will solve this problem. But it will take us a year or two of development, I think. There isn't really any good mobile testing platform out there for even automating app testing. Most of the platforms are pretty not robust, I would say. So they tend to give you you run on the same app, you run 2 tests and they give you different results, which is not robust. Yeah.
You mentioned that you use Selenium to run desktop browsers. What do you do for mobile web?
So basically, what you use in the end is Selenium WebDriver. So WebDriver you can run without Selenium as well. So as for the mobile stuff is done, we are using an outsourced partner for that. So, but they run on emulator. There was a question back there, right? Actually, we want to completely redo this report. It sucks. It's nice to look at right now, but when you start working with it, it's a little bit overwhelming. So what we will do next is we start aggregating the problems together. So we will tell you that if you look at it, then you see that here and here the problems look sort of similar. So we start grouping that, okay, this region looks different in 5 browsers. So we group this stuff together. And second thing is that we will start collecting feedback from people. So you can actually press that ignore this issue, and we will start feeding this into our machine learning algorithm. So it will get better over time. Did I answer your question? Any other question?
Do you have any big competitors or big players around your product?
In the niche we are in, we are the only ones actually. We're the only testing service in the world that offers you to test responsive web pages automatically. But yes, there are services that offer you that you can test it manually. You all saw how effective that was, right? So actually manual testing in the future will be like manual debugging. So these tools will be still around, but their purpose is more for debugging, not for testing. Because only unless you're using a lot of Indians to do that, then it makes sense. And there are also a couple of like more direct competitors which are using code analysis, but that's a flawed technique as well because gives you, it will tell you that this box is too big in Internet Explorer, but actually look at it, it's exactly the same. So every technique has its own flaws, I would say. So, but right now, in this niche for web agencies and testing responsive pages, we are in a good position.
So that's it. Thank you. So Jan is from Belgium is next, so please take the stage.
How, let's say, what kind of really situation it is in our company and why are we paying attention to it. And I wanted to tell you about 5 minutes of customer journey to success and why success, hopefully one day it will be successful, flawless 5-minute experience and payment in 4.5 minutes. That's our goal, right? But, so why 5 minutes matter? It's really that the client, okay, just stepping back. So we are a SaaS, software as a service company. We do email marketing, integrated marketing solutions, text messaging, online surveys. We integrate with different CRM systems to synchronize with content forms and just different stuff to collect emails and distribute email campaigns. So primarily our product is meant for email campaign creation and delivery. Everybody knows MailChimp, at least everybody should, because it's the biggest and the wildest and everybody loves it. Right? So we're competing with them and we're trying to move away from just simple, straightforward email platform more into more advanced marketing automation. That's planned for next 1, 2, or 3 or many years. But right now we come to this point in our life, in our company, where we are actually we have enough data and we have enough customers, and we see that we should be looking at the ways we could improve conversions, increase sales, etc. So now we're thinking, and my background is also in IT. My whole background is in technical computer software, hardware and software and design and programming, everything like that. But since we started developing the software, I always was looking for ways to improve it or reduce the friction between the user and the system, and actually get the user through the first cycle successfully within 5 minutes without any traps in the system. So I will tell you more or less, I will show you a quick path through our platform, what would mean successful cycle, and then just look at the ways we're actually analyzing it now and what we're doing to at least try to improve it. So first, the person would find us in Google, for instance. We have around 40% organic traffic, so it's pretty good. And then they will come to our main home page, for instance. This leads to the home page, right? Search, and then we'll come to here, and I know this particular page already needs some work. We have enough data to kind of map out. That's a benchmark, and we can do a lot of testing against this. I want to simplify this, make it the one call to action page instead of a slider and too much text. And let's say a person comes in and they decide to continue. They would land. Yeah, the contrast rate is pretty bad. You don't see actual input fields, so there's the name, the email, username, and password. A lot of companies now, they just require an email, or even for SaaS. Initially, we developed the platform that it would require a username. A lot of companies use email as a username now. We have a different product where we actually do that instead, just an email, and that's it. So, but still, we kind of kept the same sign-up process, because I don't think it's too much to ask for an email, password that you like, that you can set up at the start, and the username. So that would be a sign-up page that a person comes to, and this needs work as well. We want to test this. We want to have a different version as well. and split test on this. And then when they activate the account, so from the sign up, from the page, the moment of the signing up, they get to a welcome, a thank you page, and they get a verification email, and they have to click on the link in the verification email, and then they get to this point, pretty much the dashboard. So hopefully, I don't know, a quick user, if they know what they want, they could get here in 2 minutes. So now we need to successfully guide them through the process of actually what's the main primary goal for our clients. They want to come in, or they want to log in the system and actually see that it's super easy to create a beautiful email and then deliver to the inbox and be happy about the result that they just delivered a test email to themselves. So that's really the first step, the first experience they want to have. So when they log into this page, we provide them with some clues of what steps do they need to take, with 1, 2, 3 up here, and then this additional information. Now, 4 years ago, or when it really started, it was pretty awesome how we could lay out so much stuff on the page and it actually would look okay. Today, we're already thinking about actually personalized experience based on the source of the traffic, right? So if they come from social, depending on what keywords they were using, what landing pages they came through, or what features they were looking at, they would customize the backend experience actually to those feature keywords that we're searching. So if they were coming in with online surveys primarily, then we would focus and guide them towards online surveys instead of just bumping them. You need a list, you need a container, and stuff, because you can create an online survey in the system without that. You don't even need that. So this is, and at the end I will show you the resource that really kind of led me to thinking in that way. Just a lot of cool stuff and thoughts in there. But so the person lands here. Now we tell them the first step is to create a list, or actually have your contacts in the system to proceed. And then they end up, first they have to create a list, and then they have to upload their contacts. They can add one by one, they can upload an Excel spreadsheet, they can copy paste it, or they can synchronize through an API or a third-party plugin. Systems like Shopify, e-commerce, Magento, WordPress, and Salesforce, and whatever. And then the previous presentation was really by Casper, and I added this slide a second ago. This looks pretty fine to most of the people and users. And when I look at it, I was like, what is that? Can you notice? And then if you look closer, can you notice that little patch here? That kind of, I'm not even a designer, but I'm that kind of pixel person. When I sit next to a developer or designer, looking just at a simple screen like this, I'm like, why is there a bug? I'm like, what do you mean? And you look at it, and then you see that little gap here, it's like a little white patch. Like, it doesn't work, you have to fix it. But most of the people wouldn't even care. So, anyway, then the second step, would be to create their beautiful email design, right? So they come in the platform, they choose a design they want to customize, something they like, or they would import their own. After this, I will summarize how many issues we have actually here. So anyway, they get to this point, they create an email campaign, they're happy with the way it looks, and then they deliver. Kasper was talking about testing it on, seeing how website looks on 50 different devices. Well, there's like hundreds of different email programs, and the email looks different in every testing this is as difficult and hard, but there are different softwares like Litmus. Litmus.com is a pretty cool plugin where a software, you just upload your code and it shows you how it looks. But you have to actually find the problems yourself. It doesn't tell you if you have an issue here, visual issue. So, and then the person sends their email through, and then they get a pretty decent visual report on how many people opened, clicked, bounced, and unsubscribed, and forwarded, and then you see a mobile, you see 14% of people reading it. That's actually in Latvia. And how many different browsers and Android. So let's say what's the most? That's Chrome, and default browser could be Firefox version or something. And actually Mozilla, so it's 34%. That's an actual stat from some 520 people. So That's like a cycle of a perfect story, a perfect customer journey. And then we have issues with every step of the way, right? Because first of all, users are changing, softwares are changing, behaviors and everything. And who has done a customer journey kind of mapping in their business? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so he was talking about personas before. I will just touch on that as well, right? So what we do now, we have that. And in last year, I really started paying a lot of attention to the user experience, and that's why I'm talking really from first-hand experience. We're going through this, and there's a lot of practical stuff based on theory, and we're literally just going through all of that right now and seeing already a lot of results. So this customer journey mapping is something that we do currently, and it takes a lot of time. So I would say we've done half of the journey in like a month. Because we are mixing with day-to-day tasks, and we need developers in there, we need designers and everything. But that's how it would look. So you would have actually, you could have different axes, or the vertical could be difficulty level or a different source. And then moving through the cycle, moving through the process, then you would actually scale it on different problematic points or touch points and how difficult they are to the user. This is just a template that we could use. And then there's a persona, a little smiley face, and how, the touch points and key motivations, what he really wants to accomplish. That's maybe a complicated version of this stuff. And this is how we've done it. This is a kind of first version. So I started printing out every step of the way, every screen. And then you see there's these light boxes and pop-ups. And oh my God, I shook my head. I was holding my head when I printed out the first 5. I was like, shit, is that what's happening there? So many things that are, maybe I see visual bugs, text, layout, whatever. Just proper English grammar was missing and stuff. And when we started doing this, we just started seeing a lot of things to be fixed. And we call them, hooks or salmi in Latin, the people actually tripping on that stuff. And in your first 5 minutes, you collect, one bug, but if as a user you start collecting 5, 10, 20 bugs, then by the time you're done with your hopefully successful campaign, you collected over 50 small bugs that kind of give you an experience of, this software is really not that easy, that cool, I don't want to use it. So when we go through, we add some little notes here, little stickers, we print different stages. So here's like a sign-up form or login form with different stages of error messages and pop-ups to actually see what the users see and have it in front of us as we're working. So this is like the developer's room wall. We're planning to just stick it all around, pretty much 4 walls. I don't know, have over 150 different screens. And every one of those have a bug. A bug, it could be, again, a pixel here or a text here. This helps me, or I would say any user experience person, this would be a big help. I really highly recommend it. And so how it all started, I don't know who does, Luxor or Janice Fraser? No. I actually came across Janice on 500 Startups pitch in Singapore on Echelon conference. She was there and was talking about user experience and stuff. And Dave McClure was there. Actually, a quick side story. Dave McClure sitting on the stage, flip-flops, shorts, t-shirt, and then he has a panel, right? Like a speaker's panel. And the Japanese not tourism, but information technology minister comes out, all suited and booted in a tie, and he walks in and he shakes hands to every representative there, and then Dave McClure comes up and he's just sitting here like this and just gives high five to the Japanese Prime Minister where everybody's bowing. It's just such a big cultural difference, it's amazing. Anyway, so Janice said I came across this stuff, and it was a lean machine, the guys were here as well, they did this presentation. Anyway, so Luxor has a curriculum course on actually developing a customer, building a product, and it's like 10 different sections. They ordered the course, it's like $300-400. They bring you a book and they take you step by step through the whole process of developing a customer, a persona, a idea of a business, and how to test it, how to actually measure it, etc. So we ordered this because we were developing a different product inside the company. But then it led us to creating a portrait, right? And what really a portrait is, you create a portrait of your customer, a persona, that instead of you developing for your customers, you're developing for a particular persona. And then we just took out the book, the curriculum, and just started following. She does really good video tutorials, step by step. So we sat down and we took that example in the group. It was outside, there was a lot of telecom work outside, or a telecom day. So we just sat in a circle and just divided into teams, and we had to describe this one person that we think is the user of our system. And we came up with James, who's his assistant. So he has these characteristics, he has behaviors, facts, needs, and goals. And then we came up with Diana. And you can see a difference. There's a guy's writing, there's a girl writing. So very, very specific personas that are coming up. And so now we're looking at stuff that we do, and we ask questions, how would Diana use this? Or how would she engage with this, the software and platform or something? And also in the last presentation, they say, these are our personas. Pretty nice, but that's the first draft, okay? Don't judge. And that's how it could be. That's MailChimp's personas. And I came across MailChimp's personas just also a month before. They spent maybe half a year in developing their personas and coming up with this kind of stuff, who their users really are. And then when you have identified those people, then you can start working for that segment, or that group of, or that one person, and develop the software, take them through the process, and actually guide them, each individual persona, through different sets of rules or different sets of experiences. And this is just a part of the whole customer experience or journey. When you sign up for MailChimp, or when you try to engage, MailChimp, when you sign up, you get into kind of more automated email sales cycle, or kind of funneling towards sales or referrals or something. So that's just a small part of it. And right in the middle, we have an actual scheme of how it will be. So we're working on this currently. It takes a lot of time. This is the input, right? So you're coming in here, and a similar thing. We got similar diagrams for software as well. For the application, you come in, and depending on the different source, you have a different flow, right? That's what I mentioned before. If you're looking for a certain solution, you get a different flow for application. Here you have a different flow for your email sequence, for email autoresponders. And then this point is where you convert, hopefully for a paid user, or you could also die off and you have a paid expired or free expired. And then here's like already far off drifted clients, we're trying to catch them back. And then the bottom one is the triggered system notifications, so inactivity, activity, depending on stuff. And it's part of the user-customer journey, right? We're trying to bring them back and then put them back in the system. A couple things that we're already doing, and I want to really continue doing as part of even user experience design, is story mapping, right? This is recently we introduced, so looking at the process, I can tell you that's a happy, successful customer who goes through that quickly in 5 minutes and sends a campaign and gets a report. We have identified at least 4 or 5 major pitfalls that we have in the system. One is signing up, and that's a new trend. A lot of SaaS softwares, they allow people to get in their platform without verifying their identity or without verifying their emails. For us, it's like really a major key point that the person actually confirms who they are, and we allow them to use the platform. So now this is actually a story map of a user account activation without email verification. And that's one of those tripping points where a person might trip. You know, we get, I don't know, let's say 10% of not activated accounts. Why? Because one, the confirmation email might get fallen spam, it might take a bit too long to deliver, they already decided it's not interesting. So we're trying to get them in the system as quick as possible without any traps, right? And then we thought it's that easy, just kind of switch it on and off. And actually when we start story mapping, what happens when we do that process, you come to there's just like 20 different points of interaction that need to be reviewed, and actually different type of messages need to be popped. We allow you to log in or do certain things, but we don't allow you to send out any email campaigns through the system, because that would be, you know, pretty much close to spam. So, because we don't know your identity really. So that's just a story mapping, and we do that for different processes in the system. And then a new thing, who knows test-driven development, right? So a lot of people, who's using and knows behavior-driven development?
Knows or use?
Sorry?
Knows or use?
Both. I don't see anybody who's using it. Does anybody know about it? Okay, right, so this is really cool stuff that I try to, and this is a simple example of the problem we have actually in our kind of developer team. They don't care is that the title of a button capitalized or not. They're like, who cares? And then we have one button with capital letters, the first two are capital. We say, click here, both will be capitalized, and then other button would be, you know, submit your form, and that will be all lowercase. And they don't care. So behavior-driven development is actually where you say button has two words, and both words should be capitalized. Right? And then you don't care, developers don't care how it looks and stuff, and it doesn't have to be. So that's the thing I want to really try to implement in our process. So this is the book I mentioned, and I don't know if it's a Bible or not, but it's 320 pages of brain food for designers, for developers, for UX people, for UI people. Why? Because actually it talks about agile, lean, and all that, but how does the designer fit into today's environment of actually development? Because before it was waterfall, you did your planning, you did the design, then you handed everything over to the developer, you just did it, and then 6 months later you had a shit product. So a lot of developers still think that way, because they are a bit older generation, even like 28 years old developers, they are already old school. They need to change. So if you come to our company, we have average age of 26, 7, 8 maybe. And we try to implement this technology, but we are already past that. We already have old habits. So where does a designer fit in? So this book really well explains where the designer fits in, and how a designer should, work with a team that's maybe old school or stuff. And then it talks about different methods of implementing the story mapping and then customer journeys and everything. It took me a while to get it because I tried to practice a lot of stuff from it, but it really worked. And that's it. I think I might have missed something, but yeah.
So questions?
I really like your presentation. Can we get slides?
Sure.
Because I like really how you talk about your processes and just your ideas.
So you said that you're using any method, so your customers actually can access the system without verifying their identity before they can send emails.
Yeah.
So how this affects on the overall bounce rate? I mean, the new users buying the product.
There's a really fine line between successful test trial and actually failure. This was really it's of really kind of time, what do you call it? Oh, my brain is just, we put a deadline, a timeline for it with 1 month of testing, right? Because we've done tests before, I can tell you, we just failed miserably. Because we're in a business of email, there's a lot of spam issues. So every client of ours goes through a verification process, very similar to a bank. You know, who are you? Where did you get your contact list in Latvia? 1188 is the standard. And we go, okay, you know, go. We don't want you. And people are like, why? Anyway, so they have to go through this process. Initially, we put that process on the client before they paid. We lost 70% of our sales. We put it behind, we lost 5% of those that didn't go through because they were spammers or drained customers, right? So that's a test that we took, I don't know, $20,000 hit just because we tested it. So this one is kind of similar because before, let's say 90% were activating their accounts, but we want those 10. You know, we don't know why those 10 are not activated. So we're now opening up the gate for everybody. But this could mean that those people that are not interested, they will never confirm their identity. And that means we can't really push them because George Bush from White House could sign up, and we cannot really push George Bush from White House because we don't know it's him. So there's a lot of fallbacks we can see, but we have to test and really measure. Might be that those 10% are actually those 10 that would want to use the product. They just never got in.
Yeah, I mean, just in my experience, after you let people to at least browse your products from inside, I mean, take a look at the dashboard, see how it goes, and just create some sort of like trust, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, trust to the product. I mean, people, they look at everything. I mean, at the design, at the usability, at your product overall, what you offer and stuff. So I think when you let people in your product, like you give more trust, like so you're opening up.
I agree, and that's why we are testing. We're hoping to reach those 10%. I don't know why they're not coming through, for instance, but we are in the B2B business, so they're looking for solution. And most of the time they know what they're looking for. So 90% that's activation is not bad, considering that in those 10% there might be spammers, or there might be fake accounts, there might be a lot of stuff. Maybe 1% only is not activating, which are legit. So for that 1% to open up the system and have so many other following issues, this is real testing. So anyway, but why we did it is to eliminate that additional step that a person has to take, kind of get you faster through the process. And yeah, you can go in, but 90% would go in anyway. They would experience the same experience. But just a thought, 5-second customer journey or a 5-minute customer journey. There was a test done by Kissmetrics that they did the same application and it loaded it under 5 seconds, and then they purposely slowed it down to 15 seconds. And 90% of those that had the slower speed of just loading the application initially, and then the rest of the experience was the same, 90% of those complained that the whole system was shit, while those that loaded under 5, nobody complained. So even those 5 seconds of loading could be the aggravation of a person going their email box, finding the email somewhere else, and not having it. That's what it is.
So, any more questions?
Are you doing the whole persona and scenario thing by yourself, or you're getting some, I don't know, people, users from the outside to tell their experience?
Right, there are different methods, right? If you don't have customers, that's one. He's an expert, I think, in that. And the other one is if you have customers, so you can look at existing users, and we have titles or industries and stuff, so we know where they come from or what type of people they are, and then try to map knowing them, because we have 4 years of experience talking to them. So we try to build those personas, and that's the thing. We had 4 people in one team building one persona. What they do, they build individual personas, and let's say a title, PR, or let's say a developer, right? So we have developers using the system. So four people in one team would build their own 4 types of development. Then you glue it together as one. And then we try to go out and confirm with our customer base that actually that persona exists, it's real, they're using our platform, and then try to even polish it even more. It takes a long time. We've done 2, we need 4, and the first 2, it takes like 2 months to just really kind of, wash it off.
So, any more?
Good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. So we're at the very end of the meetup, so only last second.